that recorded and that recorded. Good evening. Welcome. My name's Jason Whitney. You are on the channel with Three Believe. We are here because, well, we want to talk about something that's really, really important. We want to talk about the macro balancing technique that Three Believe has been able to create and master. And we do that through food. And we do that because of something called metabolic syndrome. Now, it's a term that's being tossed around more than it used to be. And I'm going to go into more detail of that. Now, a lot of times you hear people talk about, now, I'm going to tell you this information because it's important, but I don't want to scare you. I don't want you to be afraid. I'm not going to say that. I do want you to be afraid. I want you to be very afraid about some of the information I'm giving you because it is absolutely frightening and we should be afraid. What's beneficial is that we don't have to, though, live in fear, and we do have a solution to our problems. We should not be led by our fear, but it can, in fact, empower us as long as we have a path. And so that's what we're here with, is the path. I want to encourage all of you to go and go to Facebook, go to Three Believe Facebook, and like it. Go on and like the page, and whenever you see a post, like those posts. Now, let me tell you the reason why. This is not an attempt for us to be popular and for me to have lots of Facebook friends. That's not one of the things on my bucket list. I'm telling you that because I want you to go and become more familiar with how Facebook works. Now, some of you might be saying, Facebook, that's for everybody else but me. Now, if you're here and if you want to be able to benefit from the business side of Three Believe, I got to tell you something. Here's a little secret. You may not want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The internet is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's just getting bigger and bigger every day, every second, in fact. And one of those social forums or social media sites is Facebook. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a lot of them, but Facebook right now is a major player, and it's going to be a cornerstone of your business. So you may sit there and say, well, I used to do it this way, belly to belly, mouth to ear, hand to hand, and there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that the people you're talking to, they want to go to the internet. That's where all the people are. If you remember Willie Sutton, do you remember Willie Sutton? Back in 1929, he was caught by the police, and they asked him, why do you rob banks? What was his answer? Because that's where the money is. And so you want to go where the people are, and where people are is on the internet. And one of the most popular sites right now is Facebook. So go on Facebook, become familiar, like it. Later I'm going to tell you and show you how to set up your own Facebook page. But to get started, go and like our Three Believe Facebook page. So let's get started with some things I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over one of our ingredients that is in our meal replacement called Ashwaghanda. And I'm going to talk about some of the videos that we've been creating behind the scenes. I have become more familiar and have gained a level of respect for the movie industry. I'm not one of those that really gets too glossy-eyed when I've seen many movie stars in the airport or going around and about, and I just don't get very Twitter-pated. It's just celebrities don't impress me much. People do, but celebrities don't so much. But I got to tell you, the people that make movies, that writes the story, that does the editing and does the filming and does the sound and the musical score and All that goes in. I'm just doing a very small part with us producing these little videos that's nowhere near a motion picture. But I got to tell you, it is a tough job. But I gotta explain how excited I am about the content of what this is going to be for you and how powerful of a marketing tool it's going to be for you. So I want to talk to you about our approach. And what we're here for is metabolic syndrome. So why are you here? Well, you're here because you have started and you are continually working on our wellness protocol. We call it a meal replacement prevention wellness program, which is a little long. So you can just call it the three belief diet or the 3B diet. You're here because you want to eliminate the signs and symptoms of metabolic syndrome and to achieve optimum health. I'm going to just call metabolic syndrome MSX for short because that's a mouthful. The truth is, you can't afford to have MSX to be in any part of your life except for your past life. Financially, you can't afford MSX. It will cost you a ridiculous $478 a month just to treat it. With that expensive treatment, you won't cure it. So you're going to end up making that payment every month. And you are also spending $7.19 a meal for the foods that you're currently eating on average. I'm going to show you how to save at least $600 a month and become more healthy, rid yourself of MSX, and with all just a 3 believe meal at $3.57 a piece. I'm going to tell you how big of a problem MSX is, how macro balancing will become your cornerstone of health. I'm going to try and convince you that adopting a prevention mentality, approach of preventing instead of treating is in your best interest. In regards to your health care, it's way better than traditional treatment method. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove that it's cheaper, it takes less time, it's healthier, which means that you'll feel a whole lot better, and it's pain-free compared to the treatment method. The treatment method involves medications, and I'm going to try to scare you into thinking twice about taking medications ever again. I'm going to show you how to prepare your life, your kitchen, and your meals so you're ready to start feeling good again, being healthy again. I'm going to show you how to order your starter kit and how every item in the kit and what it's for and how to use it. I'm going to go over how to prepare your meals and what to do to be successful. I'm going to ask you to make a commitment to take this seriously and to follow the plan. Don't cheat yourself and cut yourself short. We'll not leave a single stone unturned. This introduction, it will be the longest one that I'm going to ask you to engage in from start to finish. But I promise you that if you invest the time, you're going to walk away feeling like you've finally found a solution. Like so many people that have already posted their testimonies and given their examples of what this wellness program has done for them. And you're going to walk away feeling like you have friends that seriously care about you getting well, optimally well. So here comes your first task of preparation. I want you to realize that right now you're spending $7.19 on a meal, that the treatment for full-blown MSX, metabolic syndrome, is going to cost you $478 a month. And you add that up, and that's over $1,000 a month that you're going to be spending. I'm going to show you how to save about $600 a month, all for less than $4 a meal. Now, I'm going to go into the part where I'm going to try and scare you with some facts and some figures, but this is real life and not my opinion. I'm going to back it up with undisputed studies that verify everything I'm about to tell you. In fact, as humans, we're more motivated by fear than pleasure. They've proven that we'll do more to avoid pain than to obtain pleasure. So, here's a summary of the pain that I'm going to go over. Hypertension. You have a 14.2% of chance of dying from high blood pressure if you have it. Over 348,000 people died from it last year. Almost half of you have it controlled, and the other half don't. Now, that's a problem because 69% of heart attack victims had high blood pressure. 77% of strokes is caused by high blood pressure. Even congestive heart failure is affected by 74%. Taking blood pressure medication is actually linked to causing kidney failure, angina, and heart arrhythmia. Hypertension medication has been shown to increase your risk of also getting high cholesterol by 69%. Are you feeling a little depressed? Well, the medication for high blood pressure also includes or increase people being admitted to the hospital for depression by 200%, as well as increasing your chances of being obese by 58%. And it's expensive. It will cost you up to $990 a year, and that's why treatment, such as taking medication, isn't as good as prevention, like the 3B plan is. And since high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol are so connected at the hip, let's talk about that one too. It's called hyperlipidemia. High cholesterol will cost $685 a year, and it comes with some nasty side effects. Taking the medications to treat high cholesterol is linked to both kidney and liver failure and high CPK enzyme levels, which involves your brain, your heart, your central nervous system, and can overload your kidneys and actually eat away at muscle tissue, which doesn't sound like a good time. And if that's not enough, it has been shown to actually cause high blood pressure that we were just talking about and type 2 diabetes by 46%. And since insulin resistance is really a bad thing, it will get you closer to insulin resistance by 24%. And that's just the short list of the things that taking the medication for treating high cholesterol will do for you. Now, almost 80% of Americans are overweight. And so it only makes sense for me to summarize some of those risks. Having the condition of high blood pressure and cholesterol, fatty liver, being less fertile, damaging your lungs, and getting asthma are all spurred by carrying around those extra pounds. But be afraid that type 2 diabetes is increased by 930%. That's right, 93 times greater chance of getting type 2 diabetes because a person is overweight. Dying from coronary heart disease goes up 62%, as does getting a stroke by 64%. A third of joint replacement surgery, you guessed it, is actually caused by being overweight. A very scary one is that your risk for Alzheimer's jumps by 42% by being overweight. It's no wonder that your healthcare costs are 81% higher if you're obese. Even going to the ER will happen 41% more often. And your likelihood for taking medications when you're overweight is twice as high. Now, I know these are not exciting things, but I want you to take it seriously how big the issues of metabolic syndrome are. And I've gone through 3 of them. Let's go through 2 more. Let's talk about diabetes. I'm going to focus on type 2 diabetes since everyone thinks that it's so much safer than type 1. By the year 2030, that's only 13 years away, 45% of the population in the United States will have type 2 diabetes. And if you're over 50, then your chances jump to 51%. Less than 10% of you even know that you're pre-diabetic. And because you're not paying attention, the studies show that you're going to get full-blown diabetes within the next 5 years. 68% of diabetics' deaths are related to heart disease. And if you're 65 or older, it explodes to 400%. Up to 40% of kidney disease is caused by diabetes, and almost 70% of all amputations are a direct cause of diabetes. It even affects our young people. 74% of children that go to the hospital are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now, I'm going to talk about NAFLD. That stands for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. You don't know much about fatty liver disease, but trust me, it's important. Up to 32% of the general public that don't even look overweight have a fatty liver. 75% that are overweight have one. And if you're unlucky enough to have also diabetes, 74% of you also have a fatty liver. If your liver is fat, you have a 30% chance of liver damage. And if that's left untreated, 25% will have it advanced to cirrhosis of the liver. And all that comes with a price tag of about $1,613 a year. If you had all of them, which many of Americans do, that's called full-blown metabolic syndrome. And it will cost you $478 a month. And with thousands of studies backing it up, you have to consider the data. But with just $3.57 a meal, which is what you're paying as a 3 Believe client sales rep, you can prevent all of it. At least that's what the study says. Because macro balancing is the cure. And since you're already spending over $7 a meal, that's a pretty good deal. So you're going to save money on your meal or on your food, and you're going to avoid all that costly expense. That's why we're here. Now, I want you to think about the list that I just went through. Think about all those topics, all those conditions. You know people that have those issues. As you think about those percentages, can you think of a single reason why you should not be talking to them about a program that has more studies that have identified that macro balancing, which is exactly what our program is? No other product on earth so far has been developed that follows precisely what these clinical studies are saying when it comes to macro balancing and preventing the issues of metabolic syndrome. And you have it in the palm of your hand. You have it by a link to a website. You have it by offering a business model that will literally, in some cases, save their lives. But it definitely saved them money and pain. So don't hold back. This is one of the reasons why I want you to go on and start getting active into the Facebook. Like our page, and then I'll show you how to set up a page. What I just had finished reading to you will all be in a video. It'll all be presented for you to be able to use as a business tool. We'll break them out in small little captions. So let's say that you have a friend or a person that just has one of those issues, fatty liver or high blood pressure, or is taking cholesterol medication, for heaven's sakes. They don't know these risks. And you can just send them that one little caption of a video to help them understand all of these challenges that they're having if they continue the treatment of Western medicine. Prevention is so much more effective. So there's my encouragement. There's my attempt to scare you. And so with it being so close to Halloween, I thought it might be appropriate. Trick or treat. All right, let's talk about ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is an herb. It's a bush, and it comes from India or in that region of the world, and is also a plant that's known as an adaptogen. And an adaptogen is very effective in truly being what the medical botanical world calls a superfood. So for some of you that want to know how to spell it, it's very simple. Just break it out into 4 parts. Ash, wag, hand, ash, A-H-A-S-H, wag, W-A-G, hand, H-A-N-D, Ashwahandga, if you did it phonetically. So it's pronounced ashwagandha. So the version that we use is very important. I'm going to talk about the benefits of ashwagandha. And it's important for you to understand that we put a clinical dose of ashwagandha in every single shake that you're consuming daily. Now, when I say clinical dose, it's important to note that there are so many beneficial herbs and supplements out there that companies will advertise. Oh, we have that. We'll put it in our product. But what they fail to tell people or administer is that the study that they're taking this great data from, they're not putting in as much as the study represented in order to get the results that they were bragging about. We have the clinical dose in there. Now, I'll admit that at times I need extra, even more than what the clinical studies show. I use it, almost daily. Sometimes, I'm going to confess, sometimes my wife just hands me a few extra capsules. I don't even say, I don't even say anything, and she says, "Here, honey, I love you. Take this, and don't talk to me for about 15 minutes." I will take it if I feel an extra level of stress throughout the day, or if I'm really busy and I don't have my best sense of humor about me and I'm a little grumpy. It really does help with lowering my anxiety. I don't get anxiety often anyway, but we all suffer a little bit extra stress from time to time, and it really helps. So I'll take extra amount. Also, she takes it at night because it helps her with her sleeping. She doesn't sleep real well sometimes, and so rather than taking a traditional sleeping pill, it doesn't make her fall asleep. What it does is it just puts her more at ease so that she's able to stay asleep. And so it has so many benefits. Now, the thing when you're looking at ashwagandha, if you type that word into the internet and you go browsing, you'll see that there's a lot of products out there. Here's the secret. The active ingredient that is that we're looking for is called withanoids. And all the ones that will actually post how much of this this active ingredient that does all the magic in our bodies is the highest one I've found is 2.5% of withanoids. Now, what they're not telling you, oh, let me add, our version has 15%. So many times higher. What they're not telling you, and I haven't found any other product that tells us, is what inside of withanoids, which is a group, right? What we don't want of that withanoids group is something called withafferin A. And that is one that is it's a psychotoxic, and it's been shown in multiple clinical studies that it's the undesirable side of withanofen, and we don't want that. And it comes most concentrated in the leaves of the plant. That's why the company that we get it from only gets it from the root. Now, other companies will only get it from the root, but they don't have the patented process that allows the levels to jump to 15% of concentration. Everybody else has 2.5%, but see what they're doing is they're also including the version that they don't want, which is the withafferin A. We don't want that part. So for all you know, it could be all the 2.5% could be the one that you don't want. So I just go into the details that I buy it from the company that has the only patent in the world, the only clinical studies that shows that it's as high as 15%. So what is it? And why do I put it in the product? Well, let me go through some of the reasons I just talked about. Anxiety is one of the reasons why. There's many studies that have been done. Not only from the company that I buy it from, but from just other medical labs. It shows that it drops chronic stress tremendously. I actually have a study here that the writing's so small on this one I have to put on my glasses a little bit. It shows that your level of here we go, irritability, after 60 days is dropped 87%. That's amazing. Forgetfulness, for those that want to remember better and have sharper cognitive thinking, improved by 68%. These are clinical studies on humans, I might add. Your sleep improved by 84%. You already heard me talk about my wife's situation. Flushing and hot flashes for those that suffer menopause is 78% reduction. Fatigue, just feeling tired and run down, decreased by 87%. All of this is after 60 days. Okay? Headache and muscle pain decreased by 82%. Ability to concentrate increased by 84%, and just overall feelings of well-being increased by 84%. Those are some pretty amazing numbers. Another benefit is C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein reached 31.6% in doses. That's good. That's actually what I said reach 31. That's a 31% decrease of C-reactive protein. You want to have a lower number. You don't have jumps in that area. Cortisol, which is the stress hormone, that decreased by almost 30% in less than 30 days. That's great. Why? Those that are trying to lose weight, cortisol works as an antagonist to weight loss. It's hard for your body to kick into ketosis with high levels of cortisol, and then also you just feel, stressed out. Power output, or that fatigue, increased. I'm looking here at 3 clinical studies show that increase by over 70 up into 80 percentile. We talked about stress. Let me go into some of these. Oh, here's another one. Total cholesterol levels decreased, which is fantastic. Showed that as much as 17% decrease. Aerobic exercise improvement. Basically, what that does is it's improving your stamina. You're able to work out longer. Also, in your ability to uptake oxygen into your bloodstream. Blood glucose is dropped by 5%. That's great. Blood pressure decreased by 6%. Depression, I talked a little bit about anxiety, but it actually, instead of in India, they use the plant itself in the place of depression medication, which is very, very inspiring. Some of those that are less studied, not as many starters, heart rate is decreased a little bit. Your hemoglobin is improved by 6.5%. Your LDL cholesterol levels is dropping. Let's see. Your DHEA, that's in your omega oils, are synthesized about 14% more efficiently. I mean, I'm just going through this list, and it just goes on and goes on. And testosterone levels, triglyceride levels dropping. Very, very encouraging benefits. Also, some of the newer studies that have come out is actually showing that clinical doses of the ashwagandha has shown to reduce the size of cancerous tumors. Also, acting as an antagonist or a preventer to the cancer cells from spreading, populating, or repopulating. Great information in the area of cancer. So again, what I have planned, what I'm working on, shooting or writing the scripts and shooting every day, is these videos. Again, it's a shameful plug for you getting on your Facebook page and getting familiar with it. You're going to have a way to send out emails and send them out through Facebook. You're going to want to use the videos as marketing tools. That's how people are learning today. That's how people are doing their investigative work. They would much rather listen than read. And it's just the state of affairs. So that's why I'm telling you about the videos that we're producing. Let me, right up to where the webinar started tonight, I had talked with my team about some of the work that we've been doing in the back office, and I wanted them to send me the latest update that's been going on, and they hadn't sent it before we started. Well, I heard one of those noises that came on. That's why I left my Outlook open, and let's see if they sent me something that I could show you on my screen share. All right, I see something here. All right, we go hover over that. Okay, hover over this. Okay, so, all right. What I'm going to do, let me see, where can I move this? I'm going to take this and move it to a screen. Thank you for being so patient here with me. I promise you'll be impressed with this. The reason why I'm going through this this great lengths is one of the things that I've learned as a manager running our business is that numbers, facts are essential, and having to know where we need to turn, like steering a ship, right? If I don't know where we are, my opportunity to navigate the ship is going to be, well, let's face it, it's going to be less effective. And so I want to, let me get rid of this stuff. I want to be able to provide you with great data as a manager. So when you start a business, I want you to be able to see that where your business is at. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to share this screen here. All right, share screen on monitor 1, 2. No, monitor 1. Okay. All right, you should now be seeing the screen. Now, don't pay attention to the color so much, but I want you just to notice what I'm looking at. So what you're seeing here is your tree, right? So this is called a sponsor tree. And those of you that are listening on the phone, be patient. When you get the email sent out, I encourage you to hop on the link and watch this on your computer. You'll actually see what I'm talking about. So instead of seeing your tree the way that it is now, you'll be able to see it this way. So let's just say we have John here. And John has these people that signed up, sample names, Jane Doe and John Smith. Now, what I want you to do is over on the right side of the screen, I want you to notice what happens is I hover my mouse over a different name, different information will populate. So you don't actually have to click into that person to get data on them, right? So watch, there's John Doe there, and I move it over, and now you see that it changed to John Smith. So let's talk about the data that you'll have at your fingertips. You'll have his name, their username, the date that they enrolled in your business. They'll have who the sponsor is, and in this case, it'll be you. You'll only be able to see your downline. You can't see everybody's. You'll just see your group, just like a manager of a shoe store. You'll see what John Smith's personal volume is, okay, and you'll see his group volume, and you'll see his most recent date of order for his personal use, and the last order amount. Now, why did we put that in there? As a manager, you want to know where his personal volume in his group is so that you can help him, because you're aware of where he can be for his next advancement. You want to know, make sure that his personal order has gone through so that he can qualify for commission, right? You also want to know how much it is. So let's say that I'm talking to John here, and we talked about he wanted some better improvements and some more physiological improvement. And I recommended, well, you need to be on phase 1, not on phase 4. For you to get the things that you told me that you want to achieve, you need to be in phase 1 for a while and then switch to phase 4. And here I'll be able to look after our conversation. I'll see that if he made that upgrade. If he didn't, then I can hop on the phone, call him up and see if he has any problems going online, has other questions. It's a great management tool. Then after that, you'll see that I have current PE volume. That's your personal volume and your previous month's volume. The reason why that's there is I want you to be able to compare if you have a growth factor. Now, right now, it looks like they didn't stick in any sample numbers, but that will show you a plus or a minus on every one of those numbers. That's a way that you'll be able to see if that person's business is growing or if it's shrinking. A great tool. You can't help manage this individual's business if you don't know where they're at. All right. You'll find out if they're on automatic shipment, auto delivery, and if it's active or not. You'll see the amount of persons that they've sponsored. Right. That's very important for them qualifying for generational bonus. For example, let's say that they're just one person away and they hadn't hopped on to see their own page. They're one person away from qualifying for generational bonus, and you're able now to be able to call them up and say, hey, you're only one person away. Let me help you out, so that you can tap into that added benefit. Then you'll have here how many people, how many sponsored affiliates or sales reps or retail customers you have. So it'll be broken out by percentage of your business. You'll see what type of person they like to work with, whether it's just retail customers or whether they're sales reps. You'll see there I talked about more about the growth over the previous month, contact information, and then down at the bottom is the generational bonus rank for each category. Let's move back over to where you'll see the little icons, those little blue people icons. You can zoom in on it, see how I can make it bigger. All right. And if I go up to the top and I expand it, because I want to see where there's on this top Jane Doe, see there's a little plus there. What that means is that Jane Doe has enrolled some people underneath her. That's just your first line. So if you go up and just click on that little plus, what that does is that opens up, as you see, the people that she has underneath her. But if you want to see your entire group, you click up here where it says full screen view, and now that you can make it smaller because suddenly it'll expand. Whoops, I pushed the wrong one. Full expansion. Now you see that it expanded the entire group, so you can see where all your biggest growth is, where you want to focus on, and who you might want to be working with. And so these are great visual tools that you'll be able to focus. So let's say that you come in, I'm going to zoom in on here. Everyone's exposed, and you'll see that if you hover over one person down here, it will still show those numbers off to the side that I talked about at the very start. Great tool. It'll save you a ton of time. These are the things that I wish that I had, and they'll be available to you really, really soon. So thank you for letting me explain that to you. I've been really excited about it. I know it's kind of geeky, but at the end of the day, if you don't have good management skills, then, management tools, then it doesn't matter how good your skill is, right? Because you don't know where you are. You can't go someplace where you what am I trying to say? You can't go someplace if you don't know where you are. That's a sign that I need a drink of water. Now, some of you may ask, why in the world do I carry this big jug of water? And why do I drink it often? I haven't drank it enough tonight because I'm parched. I do that because a very key element of being in ketosis and macro balancing your food is staying hydrated. And So you can't stay hydrated by sitting in the tub or in the swimming pool. You have to do it by actually drinking the water. So let me go to the lines and ask if there's any questions for tonight. Merv, are you there?
I am here.
Good, good. Can I?
I got a question on the ashwagandha. Is that available in pills now? And it's is that on the internet?
You know, I'm glad that you
on the website.
That's something I forgot about. What I'm doing is I mentioned to you that I'm giving you a clinical dose. Now, what that means is in these studies, the same amount of dose that they're giving the participants in the study are not always the same, nor is the frequency. They may start out with 25 milligrams once a day, or for something like athletic ability or increasing your oxygen levels, it'll boost up to 150 milligrams twice a day. Those are the differences in the clinical dose. So I give you the maximum clinical dose of the study that the manufacturer of our ashwagandha has done, and yet I sometimes myself need more. So my wife needs more. Some of our clients have expressed a need for more, and so that's why I'm going to provide it in capsule form. We'll put it in a bottle like this. We'll have about 60 to 70 capsules in it. It'll be priced really, really well so that you can afford to take what you need. And I have that. The only thing I'm waiting on one test back for efficacious value of the uptake. I mean, I've included some stuff besides just ashwagandha in there, so that it'll increase your body's ability to absorb it. And I want to make sure that that's actually working. So I'm waiting for those results to come back. And as soon as that happens, then we'll have that available. I'm expecting it'll be up on the website, available for you to purchase and to sell within the next 45 days. So I don't see any delays beyond that. Next question.
Anybody having questions? Anybody?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, good. What is the strength of those 60 to 70 capsules? What would that be of ashwagandha?
What will the strength be?
Yes. Milligrams.
It will depend. Part of that will depend on, just so everyone can, in case you didn't hear, she asked about the strength of the dose that we're going to provide in the ashwagandha. What I'm doing is that as I go out and look at the products that are out on the marketplace, I'm looking at two things. One is just the sheer volume of how much they're providing, per capsule. But more importantly is how much of the active ingredient do they have. Now, we already have them beat by having 15% concentration with zero of the A that we don't want. And everybody else is, well, the highest I found is 2.5%, but they're not telling us how much of the A is of that 2.5%. So that's one feature. I want to make sure that our dose is much higher than anybody else's. Plus, I'm also including another ingredient, which is what I'm waiting for the results to come back. They'll actually increase your body's absorbability of those active ingredients. So I'm going to shoot for those tests coming back, depending on the results, of 5 to 8 times stronger than anybody else's formula. So when those come back, you can feel confident that it'll at least be 5 times stronger than anybody's competition, and it will not be 5 times more. It'll be about the same price as everybody else's, but 5 times stronger. But that's a good question. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, and by the way, another thing I should point out is the formula that we have. If any of you have ever had ashwagandha before, it's one of those herbs that just tastes nasty. I mean, it's not something you want to put in your cocoa or your coffee or tea. It is a nasty, and that's very strong. So that limits the use of it. But the company that we get it from, because they have this patented process of using non-solvent, I'll add, non-solvent extraction. Everybody else uses solvent. The flavor is just pulled out of it. It's pretty benign. It has a very slight flavor to it, but you'll actually be able to, for like children that can't take, or those of you that can't take a capsule, you'll actually be able to open this up, put it in your coffee or tea or your cereal or in the food. The person won't even know it's there. So it'll be very, very versatile. Any other questions? Any testimonies? We didn't read a testimony tonight.
No.
Darn it. All right. Any other questions we can go over?
Anybody?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is a support question, but can you explain why not all the low-carb veggies are on the diet? In other words, there's a list of 25 lowest carb veggies. And for instance, broccoli rabe is much lower. There's tomatoes that are low, olives, eggplant, and artichoke. All of those are lower than some of the ones that are on the list.
So I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Let me confirm the question. Are you asking of the foods that are on the list, the phase 1 or 2 or 3 list, which ones are the lowest carb content of those foods? Is that right?
Now, why are there not on the list some other low-carb vegetables, such as broccoli rabe, or eggplant, or artichoke parts? Why are they not on the list? Can we eat them or not?
Okay. All right. I understand. So the question is, of the foods that we give a list of that are permissible, why aren't some of the other foods, vegetables that are low in carbs not also on that list? And one of it's just space permittability. We only have so much space to put on that little piece of paper. And so if there's a vegetable that you want that's not on that list because you like the taste of it, or you have recipes for it, or you've read and you see other good natural benefits from it, can you have them? Yes, you can, as long as you do this simple little criteria. Look up how many carbohydrates, and the internet's great for this. Look up a serving size of that item. I think you mentioned eggplant is one of them. Look up eggplant for the serving size, and you don't want to have that serving size of carbohydrates to be more than 5 or 6 carbs per serving in your meal. So you want to keep your carbs down below 20 a day when you're in phase 1, below 50 grams of carbohydrates in phase 2, as an example, and never over 150 in phase 3. I recommend more like 120, but that's the first criteria. Don't go over 6 grams of carbs per serving. And then also be very strict on where those carbs are coming from. As an example, if you take a food and the total carb count is 5 grams, but it's all from sugar, well, that doesn't qualify because that's a simple carb. When I say 5 grams, I want that to be all complex carbs. However, it may not allow itself to be all complex. So of the 5 or 6 grams of carbs, you can't have more than 10%, 15 at the max of those carbs to be from natural sugars. So if that was, say, 6 grams of carbs, you don't want to have more than 1 of those from sugars. Or what's going to happen is you're going to get a faster insulin response simply because your body's able to break it down faster. Once it hits your bloodstream, then the pancreas is going to secrete the insulin, and then it's going to kick you out of ketosis. And now we're not in a ketogenic diet anymore. Also, I recommend don't have this carbohydrate food by itself. So if it's a higher carb, let's say that you are in phase 2 or phase 3, where you can have 120, 150 grams of carbs. You have a food that has 10 grams of carbs in it. Don't have it all by itself. Eat it with food. You want to follow the rule that the diabetic does, which is eat that carbohydrate food along with a protein and a fat and a fiber, because that protein, fat, and fiber is going to slow down those carbohydrates from being broken down. If you eat it on an empty stomach, or you're going to eat it all by itself, then it's going to be broken down quickly, and then it'll produce an insulin spike. Did that explain the question? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one. Are you going? This is going to be a standard addition to the shake. It won't be optional whether you have it or not. It'll always be in there, right?
Are you talking about the ashwagandha?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So the question is since I spent the time on ashwagandha and all the cool, wonderful benefits from it, will it be in just the regular version of your shake? Yes, it is, and it has always been. So from day one, if you go back to an old bag and you look on the ingredient panel and you pull that up, you'll see that ashwagandha is in there. It's always been in there. What I'm doing that's different is simply going to provide it in capsule form so you can have extra if you want it. Also, since we've started, some of you that came in January or later, we switched up and we added a peptide protein. Well, from day one, it was in that one too. So it will, no matter what version I come out with, whether it be the vegetarian version, it'll be in that one too. It is what I consider the foundation formula. It'll be in all of our versions of the meal replacement shake. So good question.
Super. Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's good.
I think that's about it, Merv.
I think it is. Good call. Boy, super.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your work. Don't be still. Go out there and tell everybody you know about the benefits of our program against fighting metabolic syndrome. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Jason.
Good call.
Thanks, Jason.
Good night, Dave.
Thank you.
Good night,
God bless you.
God
Yep.
bless you all.
Good night.
Bless you.
Bless you too. Good night.
Good night, everybody. God bless you.
God bless you. Jesus is our Savior.
That's right.